Hi, I'm Daniel Green, and thank you all for watching in the last 8 weeks, where all of us on lockdown have been a little bored on what to make for dinner. Well, I've shown you how I've used my pantry and made restaurant-style food, or made food easy. Today, I'm going to make one of my original favourites. I made this over 20 years ago. It's a tuna olive tapenade, and I'm going to top it with some frozen fish. It's really easy, so stay tuned as we fire up the pantry. So this is one of my all-time go-to dips that I used to have because it was always in the pantry available. But now I'm going to top it with some fish and show you how we're going to make an olive tapenade that is absolutely brilliant with a little bit of a bean salsa. Here's what we've got. In this tapenade, I'm going to use some Dijon mustard, some olive oil, sun-dried tomatoes, some garlic, olives that have got no stones, some tuna, I've got a bag here, you can use a can, some dried basil, and some lemon juice. We're gonna make that into a wonderful paste. I'm gonna dress it up on top of a little bit of beans. I've got a black bean and I've got these great northern beans with some olive oil. And then I've got some Mahi Mahi, frozen. I just took it out of the freezer and we're ready to go. So I'm going to start by making the tapenade. Now, I love this one because it used to be my go-to if guests come over. There's always something you can whip up that's got a Mediterranean, wonderful flavour. And really, this is just so fabulous. And you know how sometimes you make a dish and then you forget about it for a while? Doing this, fire up the pantry, made me remember this, and I'm so pleased I did because I've been making it many times since. What I'm going to do is take some olives and put them into a food processor. They'll go on there with a little bit of garlic. Now, I love regular fresh garlic, but what I'm doing here is showing you how you can have all of these ingredients in the pantry ready to go at any time. Then, Dijon mustard, which is my go-to for using any salad dressing. Sun-dried tomatoes. Now, these last forever because they have olive oil in them, so that preserves them. And I keep them in the refrigerator once I open the jar, and the reason is it gives a depth flavour. It's a tomato flavour, but it's rich. I use this in pasta sauces, I use this anything tomato based to give a bit of richness. If I do a bolognese, I add a little bit of this, and it's magic. It just changes up the whole flavour dimension. Then we've got some basil, or basil, and I put a little bit of dried in there. Of course, I love fresh, but I'm trying to show you ways that we can use everything here that's from the pantry. A little squeeze of lemon juice, and obviously that's going to balance out with some olive oil. Not a ton, but a nice amount of olive oil. And then I'd add this tuna. And I use the tuna which is in water rather than olive oil, just to cut down the fat a little. I'll pop this on and show you how easy it is to make a tapenade. Make the tapenade pretty quick and give this a good old blend. Take that out, and our tapenade looks like this. Rich, thick, wonderful. Now, with this, you can just add it with some crudités. It's great with carrots, it's really good with some celery, but I'm gonna top it on this fish, which is just absolutely magnificent. And I've got a little bit of Mahi Mahi. Nice, easy fish to make, frozen beautifully. I'm gonna take that out, and I'm gonna give just a little bit of an olive oil to my pan. Just a little bit. And I'm gonna take this and pop it in that oil. What I'm gonna do now is season that up with a little salt and pepper, and I'm gonna let that cook. I love this with salmon. It works beautifully, but I do a lot of salmon, so I wanted to show you something else with the mahi. The other way to do it, and I wanted to show you this in real time, but if you wanted to do this ahead, you can put it on the salmon, and then you just bake it in the oven, 400 degrees for about 15 minutes, and it comes out beautifully. We're gonna top it with the tapenade in a moment. Meantime, let's make a little bit of a very simple bean salsa. Beans have got lots of protein. I do use them when I don't want to go too heavy on the carbs. Black beans, great northern beans, a little bit of lemon juice. Now, If you were doing this with fresh, you could use some tomatoes, give it a little bit more of a lift on it. But I'm really showing you everything we've got here is from a bottle, a can, except for the fish that was frozen, and that's it. A little bit of olive oil. Lots and lots to season that up. I've got this wonderful pepper grinder that does the two at the same time. Give that a mix. And again, this is kind of like, hey, I want to have a great dinner, but I want to have everything on hand. Once you've got these ingredients, you'll probably buy a lot of them, so they're at hand every single time you want. Fresh basil for some wonderful Mediterranean flavor in there. And I am going to add a little bit more of this sun-dried tomato because I just think it's got such a great kick and flavor to it and a depth, and that's what we're looking for. We want to have food that's got a richness to it. We're getting really light. I mean, my whole passion is healthy eating. My whole passion is how you can feel full and have a meal that really satisfies you, but without going to a restaurant where people get a little heavy-handed with the butter and the cream and the cheese and the deep frying. And actually, that's been my philosophy. Over 12 cookbooks, really, I've kept to one thing. No deep frying, no cream, no butter, no cheese. If you take that really big fat out of your diet, you will make huge differences. I lost 65 pounds. I kept the weight off over 30 years, and I did it eating like this. So I hope you can see how we present this in just a few moments. Turn the heat off, and we'll serve it up. So now, I love big white plates. It shows the food off. If you've got a big pattern, not that patterns don't work on plates, but it's for the right thing. When you're doing this kind of food and you want to make it look like a restaurant, this big bowl is just going to make it look fabulous. So we will start with a little bit of this bean salsa. And by the way, feel free to add a little bit of chili and make it nice and spicy. I just feel the flavors on here are perfect. It's just what we need. I'm going to grab a spatula. I'm going to take this fish, turn the heat off, place it there. Take our brilliant tapenade, just beautiful tapenade, and coat it just over the fish like a little bit of a crust. Again, feel free to bake that in the oven and make it look fabulous. Let's do a little garnish. All of this from a can, and that's what this is all about. A show that kind of shows you how you can make food look fabulous, taste brilliant from using cans. Subscribe to make sure you see every week. Take a look at that. That was a can of olives, some tuna, some lemon juice, a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes, some dried basil on a bean salsa, mahi mahi, restaurant style on Fire Up the Pantry. Thanks for watching.